The afternoon sun bled into the Los Angeles skyline, painting long amber streaks across the glass walls of the studio lot. Inside, cameras whirred, lights blazed, and the controlled chaos of a film set filled the air, a symphony of hurried voices, clicking shutters, and the scent of fresh makeup and coffee. Amid the crowd stood Arav Mehta, a young Indian cinematographer whose eyes burned with focus behind the lens of his camera. He wasn't supposed to be here. Originally hired as a second unit operator, Arav had impressed the director with his intuitive sense for light, how it wrapped around faces like a secret. Today, he was stepping up to shoot the main scenes for a major Hollywood production. He knew every frame mattered. Across the set, Maya Winters stepped into the light. She was the movie's lead actress, the kind whose name alone drew entire theaters full. Yet behind her calm poise and quiet smile was something else, something the camera could sense but no one could name. Camera rolling. The assistant director shouted. Arav's heart thudded as he peered through the viewfinder. Through that small rectangle of glass, the whole world shrank, all noise, all motion fading into the singular presence of Maya. The scene called for her to walk toward a window, lost in thought, waiting for a love that never came. But what Arav saw wasn't an actress performing. He saw truth, a flicker of pain behind her eyes that didn't feel rehearsed. He adjusted the focus ring slightly. The light spilled perfectly across her face. Action. Maya moved. Her expression softened into melancholy as if she were remembering something from far away. Her lips parted, her eyes shimmered, and Arav forgot to breathe. The room disappeared, only her and the sound of her quiet breath existed. When the director yelled, "Cut," everyone relaxed. The noise returned, the assistants rushed forward, makeup artists adjusted her hair. But Arav still stood frozen, his hand resting on the camera. Maya noticed him watching. She tilted her head, smiling. "You look like you've seen a ghost," she teased. He blinked, finally lowering the camera. "No, just, perfect light." "Perfect light," she echoed, amused. "That's a new compliment." Arav grinned shyly. "Maybe, but it's true. The way the light finds your eyes, it's like the camera falls in love first." For a moment, Maya looked at him, really looked. "You talk like the lens is your heart." "Maybe it is," he said softly. Someone called her name, pulling her away, but that spark lingered. That brief exchange, that recognition, like two souls realizing they'd seen each other in another life. Over the next few days, the connection grew quietly. Between takes, they would share glances, jokes, and brief conversations about art, cinema, and dreams. Arav told her about growing up in Mumbai, shooting weddings and street documentaries before chasing his dream to Hollywood. Maya spoke of her struggles, the long hours, the loneliness behind fame. One evening, during a sunset scene, the director left early, trusting Arav to finish the close-ups. The sky glowed with orange and violet fire, the kind of color that begged to be captured. Maya stood by the window, her hair catching the last light of day. Arav rolled the camera, but his mind wasn't on the job. He was mesmerized. "What are you thinking?" she asked, turning toward him. "That if I could freeze this moment," he said quietly, "I wouldn't need another film." She smiled, a real one this time, not a camera smile. "Careful, Arav. Lines like that can start stories." Maybe they already have. The silence that followed wasn't awkward, it was charged, a current passing between them. Outside, the sun dipped, and the studio lights flickered on, bathing them in a warm glow. Arav slowly lowered the camera. Their eyes met again, closer now. There was no director, no crew, just two people who had spent their lives pretending, finally feeling something real. But before either could speak, the assistant director burst in, reminding him the set was closing. The moment broke, scattered like dust in light. Maya left with a gentle nod, and Arav stood there, wondering if the camera had recorded what his heart had felt. That night, he replayed the footage alone. Every frame of her looked alive. In one shot, just before the take ended, she glanced toward the camera, not as Maya the actress, but as Maya the woman, eyes searching for something. Maybe him. He paused the video and whispered, "What are you hiding behind that look?" The next morning, he found out. While transferring data, Arav discovered a separate folder in the camera's drive, hidden footage not listed in the day's schedule. Curious, he opened it. The images were raw, unedited, behind-the-scenes shots, candid clips of Maya. But one video caught his attention, a dimly lit room, Maya arguing with a man, her voice trembling. "You promised me," she said on the recording. "You said it was buried." The man's voice was cold. "Nothing stays buried, Maya. Not in this business." The clip ended abruptly. Arav sat frozen, his mind spinning. Was this real? Was it part of the film? It didn't feel scripted. The timestamp showed it was recorded weeks before production officially began, maybe from a hidden camera test. He shouldn't have seen it. He knew that, yet he couldn't unsee it either. The next evening, unable to ignore the weight of what he'd found, Arav went to the rooftop of the studio, where Maya often watched sunsets alone between shoots. She was there, wrapped in a light jacket, her hair tousled by the wind. "Maya," he called softly. She turned, her smile fading when she saw his expression. "You look serious. I need to ask you something," he said, stepping closer. "I found footage, something that wasn't meant to be in the camera. It looked like you, arguing with someone." Her face went pale. "You watched it." "I didn't mean to," he said quickly. "It was mislabeled." "But what was it? Was someone blackmailing you?" Maya turned away, gripping the railing. The city stretched below them, a million lights, all watching. "You don't understand," she whispered. "Hollywood isn't what it looks like on screen. There are people who build you up, then own you. Then why not tell someone? Why hide it?" She laughed bitterly. "Because truth doesn't sell tickets, Arav. Illusion does. If that footage comes out, everything I've built, my name, my life, it's gone." He stepped closer. "I could help you. We could expose whoever did this." Her eyes met his, shining with fear and something else, trust. "Or you could walk away and keep my secret safe." Arav hesitated. He had spent his life chasing stories worth telling, truths worth showing. But now that truth had a face, hers. "Tell me one thing," he said quietly. "Was any of it real? What we felt?" She looked at him for a long moment. Every frame. A gust of wind swept across the rooftop. Below them, a siren wailed in the distance, echoing like a warning. Arav reached into his pocket, pulling out a memory card, the one containing the hidden video. He held it between his fingers. "This is the only copy," he said. "Once I delete it, it's gone. Then decide," she whispered. "Show the world, or keep my truth in your heart." For a moment, neither moved. The tension between them was almost unbearable, truth, love, and betrayal tangled in one fragile thread. Arav stared at the card, then at her. The city lights reflected in her eyes like stars on water. Finally, he smiled faintly. "The camera sees everything, but it doesn't have to remember everything." He crushed the memory card in his hand, letting the shards scatter into the night. Maya exhaled shakily. "Why?" "Because some stories," he said, "aren't meant for the screen." She took a step closer, her voice breaking. "You just destroyed your chance at the biggest scoop of your life." He shrugged gently. "I didn't come here for stories. I came for light, and I found it." For a long time, they stood there, the wind carrying silence between them. Then, slowly, Maya reached out and touched his hand. Below, the city buzzed on, oblivious to their quiet rebellion, two people choosing heart over fame, love over truth. But as they turned to leave, Arav's camera, still resting on its tripod nearby, blinked red. Recording. Unnoticed, it captured their final embrace, the soft confession of eyes meeting under neon skies. Later that night, Arav sat alone in the editing room. The footage from the rooftop played back, their faces illuminated by city glow, their words barely audible but filled with emotion. He hovered over the delete key. Instead, he labeled the file simply, "Cam Love, Final Take." He saved it to his private folder, where no one else would find it. Not as evidence, not as a story, but as a memory of something real in a world built on illusions. As dawn crept across the horizon, Arav closed the laptop and stepped outside. The first rays of morning light hit his face, warm and golden. For once, he didn't raise a camera to capture it. Because some moments, he realized, are meant to be lived, not filmed. And somewhere, on another rooftop, Maya looked toward the same sunrise, whispering his name. Their story, unfinished yet complete, lingered in the air, a love framed by truth, blurred by choice, and remembered by light.